Hi everyone, I welcome you all back to my channel Gratitude with yet another episode. I would like to begin this episode by thanking each one of you who has watched my video, who has commented on my video, who has liked my video. And I also want to thank the person who came up with a topic for me to speak upon. And today I will be speaking about that particular topic only. It would be really very helpful if you come up with such topics time and again, so that it just helps me understand that what you guys are looking forward to listen to from me. And I also request you guys to subscribe my channel so that you are updated with each episode of mine. So the topic which was suggested to me to speak upon was how to handle criticism. So the topic on which I would be speaking today is how to handle criticism. I am not a scholar, but yes, I would try to underline whatever I feel could be the possible, could be the best possible ways to handle criticism. We as human beings tend to criticize everything, because if you are criticizing something, it is believed, or people believe, that you are very scholarly. The person who criticizes a lot is believed to be very wise, because if someone is criticizing something, it somehow means that the person is well aware of everything, because in order to criticize something, you must be first aware of that particular thing. But we humans have taken this for granted a lot. We have realized that just by criticizing things, we can become highly respectable in the community. So every other person, in fact every person, tends to criticize almost everything, because it just doesn't give you an extra edge, but it also makes you feel proud of what you are. It gives you a sense of superiority. So that is why we have become habitual over the course. It has made us crave for that attention, for that sort of validation from everyone, because the moment we start criticizing people or things for that matter, we are not taken for granted, and which is what we like a lot. So the first thing we need to understand is that criticizing is not good if it is only for the sake of criticism. Criticism is good when the intention with which you are criticizing is constructive, is benevolent, in good faith. If you are criticizing someone because you want that particular thing to improve, then it is okay. You must continue to criticize. But if you are criticizing someone or something just to gain a superiority sense, it is not okay, because that is that is fake. That is just creating a bubble around you, and it might burst someday. However, you might like to continue living that life, because that might give you a sense that what if that day never comes, which is okay. But are we really supposed to live a fake life? We are born as a human being, and we must enjoy. We are here to enjoy everything in the real sense. It is extremely difficult to handle criticism. There's no a real or standard way to handle criticism, but handling criticism is also an art, because it has so much to do with the intelligence one possesses. So first, in order to handle criticism, a person must understand the intention with which that criticism flows. It can it can be with a positive intention, it can be with a negative intention. So if that criticism is accompanied with a positive intention, so it will be specific, it will cover the areas in which one lacks. Because if someone is trying to criticize you in a positive way, I mean, if for your improvement, he'll tell you the areas in which you need to improve. Or maybe if he doesn't, whenever you inquire to that person, he might be able to highlight the areas in which there's a scope of improvement. But in the case of negative criticism, or in the case of criticism with which is with bad intention, negative intention, they will not be able to highlight the areas in which an improvement is required, or maybe they just don't want to, even if they are capable of telling you. So I would say, in order to handle criticism, the first step one must take is to inquire for the reasons of that criticism, to inquire for the areas in which there is a scope of improvement. So it is the very first step. So there could be chances when the other person responds to you, and if the other person is able and is actually highlighting the areas of improvement, it can be construed to be criticism with positive intention, and then you must take it positively. You must consider it, and you might start working on it so that you can improve. But if the person to whom you have made that inquiry is unable to tell you the area of improvement, or maybe he's just not telling you the area of improvement, you must not take it seriously. It is not something to which you must pay attention. You just have to look at it as a bystander and let it pass. And in fact, that also comes with a very positive thing, because that will teach you to avoid the things which are not necessary in your life, which is really the most difficult art to learn only. To avoid the things which are unnecessary in our life is something which is almost next to impossible. It is very easy to preach that things which are unnecessary should be avoided, but when it comes to the practical application of it, it is the most difficult task one has to undertake. Most of you would have come across this term constructive criticism. It is a term which is most commonly used in the corporate sector, because there that cycle, that chain continues. It flows from the top to the bottom. So someone starts criticizing a person, and then he passes on that criticism to the other person, and that is an attitude which everyone develops in that hierarchy. And most of the people in that hierarchy will not be able to tell the areas of improvement, because they know only to criticize. Why do they know it? Because it has flown from the top, and it has been taught, or they have been conditioned in that particular way only. And that also happens because they don't know that they have to inquire for the a reason of criticism, for the areas of improvement. So they just go on passing that legacy to their subordinates. In so many corporate talks also, you must be told that inquiring or asking for feedback is something highly important. It is important for your growth, and that is quite true, because without inquiring you will not get to know, unless the other person, the person who is criticizing you, is aware enough to tell you the reason, tell you the area just while he is criticizing you. And it must I'm sorry to be using this term all this while. He is not criticizing you per se. Someone might be criticizing your work because, you know, in fact, a person who is trying to improve you, a person who is criticizing you with a positive intent will not criticize you as a person. He'll criticize your work, your tasks. He'll criticize something which is associated with you and not you. But in most of the cases, when someone criticizes you with a negative intention, with a negative intention, he will criticize you as a person. So if you feel, or if you perceive that you are being targeted, you as a person are being targeted, then you must try to avoid that criticism, and that will just create an opportunity to learn the art of avoiding things which are unnecessary. And trust me, this will help you in the very long term of your life. Avoiding things is not easy at all. And, you must have also come across this phrase that ignorance is bliss. Although it is not applicable in all the cases, but somehow if you learn the art of ignoring, if you learn the art of avoiding, you'll actually live a blissful life. And again, it is all a matter of perception. The way you perceive things, the way you perceive the other person, the way you perceive the ideas of the other person will define your character, will define what you are going to become. And you just cannot stop things from happening, but you can definitely stop the things which happen to you, because you cannot have a control over the world, but you will have a control over your world, because your world is your perception, is your outlook, is the way you look at things, is the way you live your life. So your life is totally dependent on your perception. I am in charge of my life, you are in charge of your life. And let's just take that responsibility seriously. Let's just try to use it in the best possible way to live the best possible life ever. You don't have to prove anyone. We don't have to prove anyone. We just have to live. We just have to live our life, in the happiest possible way. Criticism, if taken positively, will create a positive impact in our lives. Whether it is, with the good intention or with the bad intention, because with good intention it will improve you, it will create an opportunity to improve, and with bad intention it will give you an opportunity to learn the art of avoiding and ignoring things. So it is again a matter of perception towards any and everything in our life, which will decide the life we are supposed to live. So let's just try to take this criticism also in a positive way, by either improving or by learning the art of avoiding things. So that, I feel, is one of the best ways to handle criticism. I hope I have tried to underline the ways in which criticism can be handled in a good way, in a good fashion. And I hope I can add some more value to your lives, and I would be expecting to listen to more such topics you want me to speak upon, because it would be really helpful for me as well as you guys to understand, to make more sense out of these videos of mine. And I'm grateful to each one of you for devoting your precious time towards watching my video. And I'm really humbled. I'm really grateful to you guys. Stay happy, and let's be grateful for all we have.